Can we start?
From Beer of the Day World Headquarters in Elk Grove, California, it's the Beer of the Day podcast. On the show this evening, we have an eclectic mix of beer, including a Briney Melon from Anderson Valley, the salted caramel Brownie Brown from New Belgium and Ben & Jerry's, and then we have 3 IPAs to try, a white, a red, and a peach from Stone. My name is Dallas Helliker. Joining me tonight, Andy Hamilton, Steve Williamson, and from Pasadena, Jeff Miller. Hey guys.
Hey.
What's up, guys?
How's it going?
I think we actually have one more beer, Lagunitas.
Well, we'll get to that first. I didn't have room in the intro to fit them all in. We got 6 beers to try tonight. But first, it's that segment where we recap if we had any interesting beers this week. Anybody?
I don't think I had a single beer this week.
Well,
I had one.
All right, Jeff, go ahead.
I had, so remember, I can't remember what show it was, but a couple weeks ago we talked about the Stone Cold Steve Austin beer that he was going to do.
Correct.
So I don't have that, but I had the beer from that brewery that inspired him. Apparently, this is what I was told. He went there, had the Mayberry IPA, and that's what really got him interested in El Segundo Brewing Company that wanted him to collaborate on this beer. So I had the original, the Mayberry IPA, and it was really good.
Does it have Mayberries in it?
Or did Opie and Aunt May make it?
I don't know what's in it. I don't know what a Mayberry is. But it was good. It was a tasty, really delicious IPA.
Nice. And then we just came back from Las Vegas, and that's why last week we didn't have a brand new show. We had a couple clips from the past. But one of the breweries we went to is called Tenaya Creek, and it's in the northern part of Las Vegas. And we actually got there, and it was the last week of their old brewery. They're actually moving to a brand new facility, big bar, over twice the capacity. They actually said that they would be able to brew twice the amount of beer in half the amount of time.
Nice.
So
like 4 times as much, right?
I think so.
If my math serves me correct.
Yeah, so they were kind of in a state of moving and packing things up and shipping things out, and we did get to try, I think maybe 6 or maybe 8, 9, 7 different beers from them, and they had quite a few good ones. What would you say your favorite one is, Jeff?
Well, it really surprised me because my favorite was the first one. They have a Pilsner, which, is not the type of beer that I normally go for. And it was one of the best Pilsners I've ever had. It was so clean and crisp. And I think it had won a gold medal. It was their only gold medal winning beer. But that was probably my favorite. They had a really good barley wine, the Old Jackalope. And what was the other one? They had the pale ale, the Local 702. Is that what it's called? I thought that was good.
Yes, that's correct. And then they also had a Oktoberfest style lager. They had they were out of their oatmeal stout, Hall and Oates. Pretty good, but their brown was good also. It was a pretty good brewery. So had a lot of good things to try there. So definitely recommend that. And then obviously their new location is going to be pretty cool. So we'll have to check that out the next time we're in town there. All right, well, let's move into the first beer of the day. We have from Lagunitas Brewing Company, Born Yesterday Pale Ale. And this is their newest beer. It's very popular right now. I see everybody mentioning it, posting pictures of it online. And what's interesting about this beer is it's fresh hop, and it's brewed and bottled and shipped out within 24 hours, I think, or 48 hours. And so it's about a small amount of time as you can get from brewing to shipping. And then during the shipping process, it takes a little while. You don't know how long it takes to get to the store and on the shelves. And so this is probably about a month old that we're drinking here. But I did have it originally very soon after it came out, and I was impressed with it. So I wanted to do it on the show here. 6.5%, which is pretty solid for a pale ale. I get the aroma.
I love the aroma. Yeah, it's fresh. It smells like a really hoppy IPA.
It's got that mosaic quality that you're starting to see a lot now. It's a bright quality. It gives me like a it's like the neon green of aroma.
Agreed.
Would you call it that?
Yes. It's very extreme on the hop aroma.
I was surprised at how carbonated it was when you pulled it. There was a ton of small bubbles. They dissipated now, but I had almost like a soda. There was so much carbonation going up the glass.
This is a dark golden color, not very much head. But that aroma, man, that's tough to match.
Is this a golden color, I would say? Mine actually had quite a bit of head, like a very frothy head, but it's definitely well carbonated. I like the aroma. I like the first sip a lot. Very fresh tasting.
It's a fresh tasting beer, quite hoppy for a pale ale. I mean, I'm surprised you don't put this in the IPA category.
Yeah.
I'd say it's hoppier than their Lagunitas IPA. Different type of hops.
Different kind of hop.
But this is more where the Lagunitas IPA is maybe a little bit darker, more amber colored, and maybe a little maltier. This one sticks in the hop side of the
yeah. For me though, there's
spectrum.
There's like a juicy sweetness to it, and it's really good. I mean, we've had this a couple times already, but the one bottle is pretty good, but it's got that build up kind of a taste that would, I think, get annoying after a little while.
I like that you said juicy sweetness because it does. The finish is a little bit juicy to me, a little syrupy. I mean, it's real crisp and clean in the mouthfeel, like when you first sip it. But I think when it finishes for me, it gets a little heavy in my mouth.
To me, this is like an ideal summertime beer. It's just refreshing, lots of flavor. I know this just came out after summertime, but I would love to have this fresh as a summertime drinker.
Agreed. I think that this one is. I was really impressed when I had it the first time, and it still impresses me. I could drink this one, a 6-pack of it, no problem. I do think it's for hop enthusiasts only, though. It seems pretty hoppy to me, and I think that people that don't appreciate hops aren't really going to like this one.
I think for me, it's actually more enjoyable than a lot of IPAs that I've had. It's pretty fresh. It's pretty crisp.
Yeah, it's hoppy, but it's not the bitter hop.
It's not. It's a hoppy smell and a hoppy flavor, but it's not the bitterness.
Nice. All right. Well, that says something coming from somebody who isn't necessarily an IPA drinker. And now the beer news of the day. All right, in the first story, they've announced the details of the AnheuserBusch Inbev and their terms to buy out their biggest competitor, SAB Miller. And it comes out to more than $105 billion. And then they also, in the deal, they agreed to sell off Miller Coors to Molson Coors for $12 billion. So the Miller brands are going to split off into Molson Coors, and so they'll still be separate. So you're not going to have Miller and Bud in the same company.
Right.
And so that's going to help them, or try to help them, avoid the antitrust concerns. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. It's going to be towards the end of next year where this actually comes to fruition. But I thought it was pretty interesting that came out today where the backing for the $105 billion buyout comes from a $75 billion syndicate loan, which is the largest commercial loan in the history of global loan markets. So they bought it for $100 billion, but they're borrowing $75 billion to pay for it. So that's quite an investment, and they have all these investors and banks and stuff behind, loaning this money. And that was pretty interesting to me that they're taking that type of, I guess it's risk, but it's investment.
Yeah, from the worldwide share of the beer though, it's probably well worth it. They have people that know this stuff, and I'm sure they thought it through.
What really strikes me is that
It's not a decision you make on a whim.
yeah, they put a little bit of thought into it, I'm sure. What strikes me is you think of a number like 105 billion, and that's like the two big boys, like the two like biggest breweries, and then you think, was it Lagunitas that got bought for recently for $1 billion?
Half
The share is $500 million.
Yeah.
And so you think, gosh, like we think for a craft brewery that was huge, like a huge
Right.
deal, and it kind of makes you think, really, how kind of small they still are.
Like
Yes.
Lagunitas is less than 1% of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Or if Miller Coors sold for $12 billion, it's,
Yeah.
less than 10% of that. So, it's pretty interesting.
Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. Ow! Another one bites the dust. Hey, hey! Another one bites the dust.
All right, it's now Monday night, and I'm breaking in here with breaking news in this same vein, man. So often it happens. And the news today, San Diego brewery Ballast Point has been sold to Constellation Brands for $1 billion. So I know Ballast Point announced a couple of months ago that they were going to go IPO and go that route to raise money, and I guess they came in and made an offer they couldn't refuse. And $1 billion, that's tough to refuse. You can do a lot with that kind of money, for sure. Constellation Brands is a New York company, publicly traded, and they basically own a lot of different beer and wine and liquor brands, including on the wine side, Robert Mondavi, and beer like Corona and Pacifico. They own Black Velvet, Canadian whiskey. So they're in a lot of different markets. And so this is going to be aside from Corona is a huge player, Ballast Point is going to be their big entry into the craft beer market. And Ballast Point has been growing and growing for a long time. And so this is the next domino to drop in this never-ending saga of beer mergers and acquisitions. The other article this week, we're coming up on Thanksgiving. There'll be one more show before Thanksgiving. This is going to come out on Tuesday, the 17th. And so then there'll be one more Tuesday before the Thursday, but then that doesn't give you much time to make your Thanksgiving beer preparations.
Beer plans.
So there was an article in the LA Times about beer as it relates to Thanksgiving. And what they did was they went around LA and a few others and asked brewers what their Thanksgiving plans are. And the responses were pretty interesting. And they went to Mitch Steele, the brewmaster at Stone Brewing Company, and he cooks his turkey at the house every year, and he's drinking beer during that process. He brines the bird with a beer solution, and then when it comes to actually eating the meal, he prefers a Belgian style to complement the meal. He thinks that the spice from the Belgian yeast works well with the turkey and the dressing and all that.
I'd agree with that 100%.
Yeah, I that seemed to make sense to me. Jonathan Porter, the founder and brewmaster of Smog City Brewing in Torrance, he also brines his turkey with a beer solution. A common theme here with
I need to call my
brewmasters.
mom real quick.
And he recommends a malty red ale for a roast turkey and a porter if the bird is getting fried or smoked. The smoked, I understand. Maybe the fried too. I can kind of see that. Harry Wynn, owner of Monkish Brewery, based with beer. His family expects him to supply the beer, which if I owned a brewery, I'm sure the family would expect that I would supply the beer, so nothing wrong there. He pairs his with Belgian ales or tart wood-aged brews. So that's an interesting pairing. And I can kind of see maybe the wood aging going along with the turkey. Ron Jeffries, owner and brewmaster at Michigan's Jolly Pumpkin Artesian Ales. For him, it's a day off. He's not doing anything beer related. He calls it a day for PJs and IPAs. I could go for an IPA on Thanksgiving. I probably will. And then Mark Carpenter, he's been at Anchor Brewing in San Francisco for 40 years, and Thanksgiving is his favorite holiday. And friends and family gather at his house, and every year he debuts the yearly Anchor Christmas Ale. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. So they get to try it for the first time.
Nice.
Anyway, they summed it up by saying, regardless of what beer you get this year, take the brewer's approach to Turkey Day and share some of your favorite beers with your friends and family. So you're going to be going over to the family, Thanksgiving, a lot of people around, bring some different beers, let them try them, and you can kind of spread the craft beer that you enjoy with your family, friends and family. Good sentiments.
I still think I'm going to try to get another bottle of that autumn maple from the brewery.
Ugh.
I know Andy didn't love it, but
nobody here loved it.
I want that beer with yams and my turkey Thanksgiving dinner. I'm going to try to find it. I haven't seen it for a couple weeks.
I got a Clown Shoes. Today I picked up a Clown Shoes pecan pie beer. Looks pretty good. I think we'll do that one for the Thanksgiving time show. It's our Strange Brew segment. This is where we find a strange brew at the store that isn't really like any other beer you've ever had before, and we give it a try so you don't have to. This is Briney Melon Gose, Anderson Valley Brewing Company, Boonville, California. A mere 4.2%. But don't let that fool you.
4.2 seems a little high for a Gose. What do you got going on over there, Jeff? Are you vacuuming?
I didn't know if I was hearing things in my headphones, but wow, that was like a champagne bottle.
Did it gush on you?
No, it just was very... there was a huge head that dissipated in like 2 seconds.
Did you put the microphone in the glass?
I put it right where I normally do. So this is a little early in the show for the Strange Brew, but we thought being 4.2%, we kind of had to have this early and probably before the next beer.
Yeah, and we're going to switch into IPA mode in the second half of the show, so we wanted to get it done early.
It does not have a very pleasant aroma.
It doesn't. It's
a little vinegary, maybe.
It has that Heller High watermelon aroma. I think this is what a watermelon beer smells like.
But it has that salty aroma too.
So mine has very little head. I don't know if on the pour did it have a lot? No,
none.
And then the carbonation very light. It is a light golden color, not yellow but golden. And that smell, man, it's kind of maybe a stale watermelon or a slightly rotten watermelon. It's not quite watermelon. It's not quite fresh.
I think I would describe
it's like
taste.
A slightly fermented watermelon.
I think I would describe the taste very similar to that description of the smell. Slightly stale or bad watermelon.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
don't think it has a watermelon scent though. I mean, a little bit, but to me, it just smells like something
It-
sour and
It
fermented.
smells old.
Is it briny?
Yeah, it's briny.
It does. The aroma reminds me a lot of Hell or High Watermelon, but it's a very different beer from that.
So this has a fair amount of sourness, but
It's a Gose. It's a kettled sour beer. I mean, that's by the style.
It tastes salty to me. Does anyone
Well,
else
there's
get that?
salty. It's briny. They
Yeah.
said they added sea salt. So
I think some of that smell is like an oceany kind of smell too.
yeah, I get that saltiness up front, and then I get that sourness on the back of my tongue.
yep.
And then in the aftertaste, as the sour dissipates, I get a little bit of that watermelon juice type of flavor.
I mean, it's drinkable. It's not something I'd probably reach for, but
I don't know.
It tastes like one of those like sour candies that we've described some other beers. You know, kind of a. It's not sweet, but like it's I don't know. It's kind of an apple watermelon sour candy taste.
yeah, if you could take like a watermelon sour punch and like juice it somehow, that's kind of maybe is a less sweet version of that.
So Anderson Valley has their blood orange Gose, and that one I really got a lot of the blood orange flavor. This one I'm not getting a lot of the watermelon. I'm just getting the sour from the Gose.
I kind of get it on the aftertaste. I do.
Yeah, I get some watermelon at the end.
It's like watermelon juice.
I get a little bit, but for me, it's more like lemony sourness. Not, I mean, I can sense some watermelon, but if I had this beer and you didn't tell me it was called a briny melon, I don't know if I would describe melon as one of the flavors.
I think I would, but I think that a lot of that, the brine, the salt, is kind of canceling out the sweetness of the watermelon.
It is, but that saltiness is there. I think this is named really well. I mean, I don't know what I would change in order to have a briny watermelon beer. I think this is probably it.
Maybe a little touch of cucumber.
Sea cucumber.
You think that would make it better, or you get a little cucumber?
I don't know. No, I get a little cucumber. I think that's kind of like just the melon flavor, though.
It might mellow it out a little bit.
You know,
Definitely interesting. I mean, I think this totally qualifies as a strange brew. That saltiness, the brininess, for sure.
Yeah, I have never had anything like it. All right, well, let's move into the next one then. We have a year ago, or maybe 8 months ago, I read an article that Ben & Jerry's was teaming up with a brewery to make a ice cream, not flavored beer, but a collaboration between Ben & Jerry's and a brewery. And then they announced it was New Belgium. And I was had a little trepidation about that. But New Belgium has done real well with their Lips of Faith series and coming out with experimental beers. And so I think a collaboration with Ben & Jerry's is probably as experimental as you get. So now 8 months later, it's finally here. And they actually, what?
there's still
Good.
some left. You don't want that sour beer mixing with this.
It's barely in there. They also came out with a beer flavored ice cream. So Ben & Jerry's is coming out with an ice cream that is a collaboration with New Belgium, and now they have the beer that's the collaboration with Ben & Jerry's. And this is it. It's finally here. It's called Salted Caramel Brownie Brown Ale. 6.3%.
That smells like a brownie.
Really? I don't smell brownie. I don't smell caramel. It smells smoky to me.
It does smell smoky, but I do
I get
smell
the
brownie.
chocolate,
It's,
yeah.
it's like the crust of the brownie
Yep.
on the outside. That's like crunchy.
I think both of you guys had a little bit more head on the pour than mine. Mine, I had nothing at all. Mine's just little wisps of bubbles.
Well, it is an open glass, so.
True.
Color-wise, it is a Pepsi colored.
Yeah, it's dark.
It's dark, but it's not completely opaque. You can see through it pretty well. It really looks like a Pepsi in a glass.
Yeah, it's a perfect description. Flat Pepsi.
I do get some caramel in the smell as well. Some caramel and then that crispy chocolate.
I don't know if it's the follow up from that salty Gose or what, but man, it just tastes like an ashtray to me.
It's not good.
It tastes smoky. It literally just tastes like I'm eating ash.
Ash?
Yeah. But I think it's the watermelon Gose. It's like messing with my palate here.
Implement the 3-sip rule. Let's see if it changes as you have it some more.
I kind of like it. I think, I'm a big coffee drinker, and I think the initial taste to me is kind of like an espresso. It's kind of a bitter coffee taste. A little espresso, a little cocoa, definitely a brown ale. But I mean, I agree with if it was Andy that said it. It smells and tastes like a brownie.
It doesn't have the normal dirt flavor that accompanies a lot of the New Belgium beers. And I really enjoy this, actually. I was expecting to have some of that. A little fat tire tasting mixed in with some salted caramel brownie. But this is a solid brown ale. It's not overly salty. Like, you get the salted caramel treats here and there at Starbucks or whatever, and it's just so much salt. It's just not right. It's supposed to balance out. But this is pretty good.
The Briney Melon was saltier. The thing here is that this is not a sweet beer. You see Ben & Jerry's, you're thinking ice cream, you're thinking it's going to be sweet, and there's very little sweetness here.
I think there's some. I mean, there's some chocolate, there's some vanilla, and to me it has kind of more of like a buttery silkiness to it, but it's not super sweet. It tastes a little flat to me. I would prefer a little more carbonation, but I get caramel, but not sweet caramel, kind of like a medium caramel.
I'm put off by the lack of sweetness in this beer.
But I think
it's
when
almost
they
bitter.
describe it as a brown ale, though, I mean, if you think about like a downtown brown or a Newcastle, it has those characteristics. I mean, they're not sweet either. I mean, I think that they're really making a brown ale.
I think it is. It's not sweet, but compared to, it's not bricky like some of those, like the downtown brown or a lot of those good brown ales where they're just super like dirty and bricky. This is a little sweeter than that, a little more well balanced.
Yeah, but if you compare this to like Ellie's Brown that we had a few weeks ago,
Yeah, it's not. It's
more bitter than that to me.
really maybe bitter, but I wouldn't say it's not as brown. Like the Ellie's Brown was pretty brown.
I definitely wouldn't describe this as a bitter beer. I mean, it's that up front you get that, like I think Jeff said, that little bit of espresso taste. Just a small note of it, but it dissipates very quick. It's not a bitter taste.
What's the chocolate popsicle? Icicle? Is that what it's called?
You're right.
It tastes like that, right?
I just thought of that too.
What are those called?
I don't know what it's called.
Fudgesicle?
Fudgesicle. That's it.
Yes.
If you think that and take a sip, that's exactly my mindset there.
I like that. Fudgesicle. But this does have a little bit of, I hate to say it, but this New Belgium taste, not in a bad way, but I get a little New Belgium fat tire taste in the aftertaste, at least. There's a little bit of it. I don't know if you guys agree.
Trying not to
There's
taste
a little
it.
bit.
I'm working hard not to taste it.
I think that the name is like deceiving me because I'm trying to pick out like salted caramel and chocolate brownie, and I'm not getting those at all. Like
Can't
it
pick
tastes
out any of those flavors.
It tastes like a coffee beer to me almost, more than anything. Like if I was to say it tastes like a brown ale, but if I had to pick out like a flavor, I would say it's more of a coffee flavor. Dow, do you get that caramel at all? Salted caramel?
My mother told me if I can't say something nice, don't say anything at all.
Alice is not a fan.
You guys haven't had the ice cream, have you?
No.
I've been looking for it. I've seen this beer all over the place the last 2 weeks, but I have not found the ice cream. I thought it would be really interesting to pair this beer with the ice cream just to see the differences. Can't do that tonight, but
You would assume
probably
the
a
ice
good
cream is
idea.
going to be a lot sweeter and a lot more of the caramel will be mixed in there, and chunks of brownie probably, if that's what they're going for. Maybe they're going for New Belgium's going to make the beer and we're going to make the ice cream, and we just kind of are marketing it together.
Now, if you compare this beer to one of our favorite collaborations was the we did it last week on our little show, was the Voodoo Donut chocolate pretzel raspberry beer. That had very distinct notes of all of those ingredients, where this one is more muddled together, but I still enjoy it.
I mean, if you handed me this glass and said, "Hey, this is a New Belgium new brown ale they just came out with, try it."
Yeah,
I would try it and I'd be like, "This is a good brown ale." Yep. I would have no problem with that at all. But when I'm thinking that it's salted caramel brownie Ben and Jerry's, I'm like, no, it's not.
No, I agree.
I enjoy it. I'm not a big brown ale drinker, but this one is better than most I've had.
I will never drink this beer again. And so we'll move on from it and into our IPA segment. We have 3 different IPAs with 3 big-time breweries, a white, a red, and a peach. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Beer of the Day podcast. All right, if you enjoyed this podcast or the Beer of the Day website and would like to support our efforts, a great way to do that is by shopping on Amazon. All you have to do is go to beeroftheday.com, click the banner, or visit amazon.beeroftheday.com, and it'll take you straight to Amazon. You do your regular shopping. It doesn't cost you a single penny more, but we get a little percentage of that, and it helps us pay for our expenses here. We have to pay for web hosting, bandwidth, the email service we use to send you the Beer of the Day emails each day, the SMS text message service, and of course, all the beer that we drink. That's not free either. So if you shop on Amazon, shop through us, and we get a little kickback from them, and you help us in the process, and we appreciate that. All right, let's get back into the IPA segment, the segment I've been waiting for. All right, welcome back. We have 3 different IPAs to try. The first is Kern River Brewing Company. This is their Shuttle Bunny, it's called. This is their 8th anniversary double white IPA. I don't think I've ever had a double white IPA. 8.5%. What's that, Jeff?
You're about to.
Do you think it's double white or it's a white double?
I think it should be white
I think it's a
double.
white double.
What's it say on the bottle?
Oh, I don't know.
What's M&M?
Double white.
It says double white.
And I don't mean
I'm
what it's-
vindicated.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, like, does it mean that it's twice as white or that it's a double IPA that's also a white IPA?
Maybe they're dyslexic.
I don't know. But it's
I
pretty
think
light.
it's a
color.
white double IPA.
It is light colored. It's actually cloudier than I thought it would be. It looks unfiltered.
It's very light colored for
That's-
8.5%.
That's pretty clear.
It smells.
So I first had this beer in July at the Mammoth Blues and Brews, or the Bluesapalooza Festival.
I remember getting
And I really enjoyed it. And so I had somebody pick this up at the brewery for us. It's hard to get. This beer is hard to get outside of the Kernville area. But I've been looking forward to this because I did have it once. I thought it was delicious, but never had it in the bottle before.
Where is
I'm
Kernville?
curious what you all think. Kernville's like east of the 99, south of Yosemite, south of Fresno, kind of between Fresno and Bakersfield area.
Mm.
Can you explain to the rest of the
The
world
garden
what
spot.
what the 99 is?
It's the garden spot of California.
For those outside of California, I'd say it's roughly halfway between LA and Sacramento and a little east.
East up
Going
in the hills.
into up in the hills.
Yeah.
Kind of south of Yosemite.
Jeff, I'm just saying that no one knows what the 99 is unless you live in Los Angeles area.
Or Lodi.
You're right.
It's just
Highway 99.
Highway 99. Well, back to
Obviously,
They have great whitewater rafting, though.
we have a Northern Californian here. In Northern California, they say 99. In Southern California, the 99. That's how you can tell the difference.
that and hella.
Correct.
This beer actually smells a lot sweeter than I would have expected. It smells like a little blueberry sweetness to me. But
I think you're right. I like that. I just had a sip. I definitely get some blueberries.
It's a pretty good pull. I just get the lighter hop aroma. It's pretty pungent in the hoppiness to me.
I'm not getting much. On the aroma, I don't really smell much of anything. Maybe like when you're talking about blueberry, like the blueberry skin,
yeah, like if you just smelled some blueberries.
not some smashed up blueberries,
No.
like just
Yeah,
a
whole-
box of blueberries. Yeah.
Yeah. The smashed, I guess they would smell different. They'd smell a little
Andy's
stronger.
very specific.
Yeah.
I think it has
Yes,
some
these
blueberry
smell like
taste.
not non-smashed blueberries.
Whole blueberries.
Yes. Not blueberry jam.
I mean, with beers, you get mashed fruits in beers. That's how
Yeah,
they
sure.
get the flavor in. So it's not that. It's more like just a fresh box of blueberries.
Yeah. You're not crazy.
Did someone describe the color of this yet?
It's double white.
Double white and cloudy.
It's a
Light golden color, just slightly cloudy, but pretty see-through and very little head.
straw. I would even call it light straw. It's almost the same color as that Claremont rye IPA. Was it rye?
Don't say Claremont. You're gonna make
No,
Andy
are
leave.
you talking
Rice-
about the rice?
Rice IPA.
Andy's
Yeah.
gonna walk out if you talk about that.
No, I like Claremont, and I didn't love the rice IPA, but I really the Jacaranda, and they had that rye IPA. I like those.
Jacaranda's
color's
coming up
pretty
as beer
similar.
of the day this coming week, so stay tuned for that on, I think, Friday.
Write that down.
You can even, it's a good bar trick, predicting the beer of the day with your friends. Like, okay,
I bet I know what they're gonna do tomorrow.
I bet you $100, Jacaranda.
Too bad you're all gonna hear this after it's been beer of the day.
No, it'll be that next week.
3 days.
Ah,
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. How about
We're
the
good.
flavor on this one, huh?
Flavor,
It's kind of like a white IPA with a
It
little
is.
stronger.
it is, and it's very enjoyable. That's the first thing I can come up with is not any particular flavor, but is very drinkable.
So you IPA fans, describe to me and the layman IPA drinkers what a white IPA is.
A white IPA is a little bit more Belgian. It's like a little bit more wheat on the IPA taste. So you're going to get, usually it's a little more cloudy and a little bit more less harsh.
Well, then I would call this a double white IPA.
It's double that.
Yeah. No, this is very drinkable to me. I mean, I was actually surprised at how much I enjoyed this one. It's
They have kind of a smoother mouthfeel, and they don't kick you as much.
yeah, it definitely has some Belgian quality, some wheat quality. I think Dal, you nailed it there. It's a perfect description.
Yeah, I think that to get the amount of alcohol, it's 8.5% that you would need in this beer. You know, they're not going to have that much malt, so it's sweetness and hoppiness, and they're just balanced out. I think they did a really good job. So, shuttle bunny. Do you know what a shuttle bunny is?
I think it's like when you play badminton.
That's a shuttlecock.
Oh yeah. Is that like when you play Steal the Bacon?
No.
That's an eraser.
What is it, Andy?
That's a
So,
chalkboard.
a
eraser.
shuttle
Enlighten.
bunny is a person that drives. So, like if you go rafting or sometimes skiing or biking, they drive you up in a van and drop you off at the top of the hill, right? And then you do your raft down to the bottom. The shuttle bunny is the guy that drives the van.
According to the bottle, it needs to be a VW bus specifically.
I really like this beer. I think I tend to describe a lot of IPAs as either citrusy or piney. I don't think this is either one of those. This is something else. It's a different kind of fruit that it's a different brightness and hop profile than most IPAs I drink. And I like it. I think it's very enjoyable, like Andy said.
I think that's perfect, Jeff, because I do not like citrusy and piney, and I like this. So I think that is probably the correlation there.
I think it's, if I had to classify it, I'd say it's pine, but it's like a creamy pine where it's like more mellowed out and disguised.
Are there
A little sweeter too.
Are there wheat hops?
Wheat hops?
Yeah.
That's not a thing.
Yeah. It's like a wheat hop beer.
But there's some tropical fruit flavors too. I mean, I would say it's something like guava, lychee type of, like passion fruit
You're on the
that you
lychee
definitely
lately, huh?
get.
Disagree.
I disagree too.
You disagree?
I love lychee.
I think-
this is not lychee.
I think describing this beer, and even if you do taste those flavors, I think it would mislead the listener to think that it's that type of an IPA. It's really not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's different because it's a white IPA, and I still think blueberry is the most dominant flavor. I think Steve was spot on
But not smashed blueberry.
1 second into this.
Even on the taste, you mean?
I didn't taste much
Yeah.
blueberry.
I can taste it a little bit, but maybe I'm
I do.
thinking it's there.
That's interesting.
I mean, it was more prevalent in the aroma than the taste, but I still taste some blueberry flavors. But again, I go back to it. To me, it's not piney. It's not citrusy. It's a different type of hop profile, and maybe that's why I get the blueberries.
Definitely for anniversary beer, they came out with a good one there.
Incoming transmission.
You've got mail.
We have one comment this week, and it's about Founders All Day IPA. This is their session beer that we featured a couple of weeks ago. And Jeff had mentioned that, it's pretty good session IPA, very smooth and drinkable as it should be, and a decent hop profile for just 4.7%. Hopper, 1971. I enjoyed his comment. Enjoyable for days at the pool, as it's a bit more refreshing than typical IPA as mentioned. You can have a few without worrying about forgetting your kids. Other than that, I found it to be lacking body to be enjoyable as a regular selection. A good entry into the session IPA movement. And I agree with him. But it's pretty funny. Don't worry about forgetting your kids.
Hopper, we want to know, have you ever had too much beer where you did forget your kids? And tell us about that story next time.
Please do.
Yeah, and Hopper, I emailed you and said, hey, you wrote into a previous show, and you were selected to get a 6-pack of Beer of the Day coasters. I would mail them to you in the U.S. Postal Service, and you could utilize those for your Founders All Day IPAs if you wanted. But I have not heard back from you. So now we're doubling down. We want to give you 6 Beer of the Day coasters. This is your last chance, though.
If we're doubling down, are we going to give them a 12-pack?
We'll give you a 10-pack.
Okay.
10 coasters, Hopper.
We're going to 80% down.
Yeah. Anyone else who wants some Beer of the Day coasters, just send us an email. feedback@beeroftheday.com, or on the website, underneath the podcast, there's a comment section. Leave your comment there. We'd love to hear from you. All right. Let's move into our second IPA. This is a red IPA from Coronado. This is Bobblehead Red IPA.
This one has me worried.
8%.
Can't Dallas's glass.
I felt like I was going to like a white IPA out of IPAs, but I don't know if I'm going to like a red IPA.
Well, you like redheads.
That's true. I specifically like a redhead.
Her name and address is.
All right, what do we got here? Oh, I love the color of this beer.
Yeah. It's a nice dark Dark amber.
And the head is light cream colored.
I have the obligatory Coronado Brewing Company pint glass to drink this out of, which makes it taste a little bit better.
That's great.
Hopefully.
It's too bad our internet is so bad that we can't even see you.
I really enjoy the aroma. It's got kind of a cinnamon, kind of a cream soda mix going on.
Why is this called bobblehead?
Because they gave it away at baseball games.
It's because if you drink a bottle of it, then you're going to forget your kids and bobble your head.
I mean, I love bobbleheads. I just don't know why the beer is called bobblehead.
Andy will look at the bottle, see if he can glean any information.
Nothing.
But, I was surprised to see a new one. Coronado, Mermaids Red and all their different beers are pretty much the same all the time. And we went to the brewery and tried some new ones, like their Senior Saison was quite popular.
Dal's favorite.
The old Scallywag was very good.
Yep.
And we
Delicious.
at the brewery we found new ones, but generally in the store they're always the same. And then so when I came across Bobblehead Red, had to get it.
It says it's part of their Crown series, which I don't know what that means.
Have we had anything else out of their Crown series?
Not that I remember.
We don't know what was in the Crown
It
series.
really doesn't get into the bobblehead thing, so
It's because when they were naming it, some drunk guy was sitting in the corner of the bar bobbling his head around, and they said, "Oh, that's what that is."
May have been me at that time.
That's true. But we were there just a couple months ago. They didn't have this at the brewery. So it's pretty cool that we get this now.
Brand new. All right, Bobblehead. The color, did I describe it? I said I like the color, but it's
dark amber, I said.
dark amber, maybe even a bricky red.
Yep. Reddish.
Yeah, but slight. I would say less than the brick color. Yours is a little darker than mine, but
It's a little more brown than red.
yeah,
It came out of the same bottle. How could it be a different color?
different glass.
It's the light
You got-
bulbing out.
You get the top half.
Bottle stratification. That's what that's called.
Pretty good head. I don't know about you guys, but mine has a solid head that does not seem to be going anywhere, which I enjoy.
No, yeah, my head's been pretty substantial and not really going anywhere either.
The glass I'm drinking out of tonight is not conducive to head.
No. Poor guy.
So flavor wise, I'm getting a kind of a bricky red malt baseline undertone here.
It's definitely a lot maltier than the previous beer. I don't even taste hops really.
I do get a fair amount of hops on the aftertaste, that upper register. So you get
Yes.
that malt kick first, and then you get the lighter hops on top of it. It's kind of I like the hops in this beer. I don't know what it uses, but maybe it's Mosaic or something.
No.
Maybe
Columbus,
it's
Nugget, Pacifica, Simcoe, and Topaz.
it's the Topaz I was tasting. Actually,
I think this is really well
before.
balanced. I mean, I think somebody who likes a really well balanced IPA that tilts a little bit toward the maltier side, this is probably the beer for you.
This has the most red characteristic of a red IPA that I've had in quite a while. We were up at the brewing layer a month or two ago, and we had the red, the black, and the regular IPA.
Yeah.
And the red and the regular kind of tasted close to the same. And this is very, very red. It has some of those bricky qualities that I really enjoy. So it's different. I like it a lot.
So to follow up question from my last beer, what would you guys say a typical red IPA? What are the characteristics of that? Is it typically maltier?
Yes.
It's maltier, but it's not this malty.
I think it's usually pretty malt. Well, for the IPA, so there's a red, right, which is quite malty, very bricky, chalky kind of.
Right.
Think of at BJ's, it's called the
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah. the IPAs tend to blend that, where you mix that with a more traditional IPA, and so the redness is downplayed, and you get that hoppiness instead. And you see that with the Flip Side from Sierra Nevada, the Toaster Pastry, which was popular recently, at least in Northern California.
That Toaster Pastry seemed a lot sweeter than this bobblehead, though. Or just even a lot, like, lighter.
Yeah, this isn't very sweet. Steve, I don't know if you were on the show, but when we had the Station 101 from Claremont, that was a phenomenal red IPA. And I think this is really excellent as well. I don't know. It's just got this, I like the color. I like the flavor. I think it's extremely well balanced. And I would put this up there with Station 101.
I kind of wish it tasted more like it smells. This is probably one of my favorite smelling beers I've ever smelled. Just has this like little cream soda smell to it that I was kind of really excited to taste, and then I don't know, the taste fell a little short to me.
It's a little hoppy smell too, like those Northwest hops. Like it kind of smells a little cinder coney, but this is a heavier beer than that, and this is a heavier beer than someone just mentioned it. Oh man,
Claremont.
Oh yeah, Station 101. Yeah. That was a little lighter than this.
Incoming transmission.
You've got mail.
More?
Just got a message. So at the break, I posted a photo of the IPAs that were upcoming. Jesse Watts posted it on just right now, 2 minutes ago. Sorry, which is sorry, not sorry IPA, the next beer, and Bobblehead are good. Haven't had the other one. Well, Jesse, you should have the other one because I think we all enjoyed the Kern Valley double white IPA. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
No, it was good.
All right. So at least some people are following on. Eventually, we'll get into live streaming the show so people that can call in, give their descriptions of beer, and we'll do that.
And Jesse, if you have a girl, watch out for Rick Springfield.
Wow.
That took a little following, but we got it. We
Just
got
saying.
there.
Just saying.
If that was a planned joke, Dallas would have had the song ready to go. So that was on the fly.
Yeah, there was no writing that one. All right, the next beer, Sorry Not Sorry IPA. So this is a collaboration between Four Hands Brewing Company, St. Louis, Missouri, and Bale Breaker Brewing Company, Yakima, Washington. The name of this beer is interesting, kind of. So Stone gets a little flack for always coming out with IPA after IPA after IPA. They love IPAs, and people are always wanting them to do other things. It's like another Stone IPA. You go to the store, there's how many are there? 6?
All of them.
More? So this is their saying, sorry, not sorry, right? They're sorry that they're having to come out with another IPA, but they're not sorry because they love IPAs and they're going to do whatever the hell they want because they're Stone. So this is 9.3%, 70 IBU, and it's brewed with peaches. Little hint there.
Millions of peaches?
So it should have a peach aroma, is what you're saying.
It should. I actually thought this might be a strange brew, but Dallas shot me down on that. He says it's not strange enough to have peaches.
I feel like peach is going to be a hard flavor to sneak through the hops.
It's very mellow in general. Yeah. It almost has a syrupy smell to me, like maple syrup. You want to see that? Anyone else get that at all? It could be the kind of hops they're using, but I smell a little maple in it.
Could that be
So what's the color of this? This is
dark peach colored?
Standard IPA.
I love the color.
It's a little more orange.
This
than
is
your
a-
standard. A little more
This
orange
is
than
an
your standard.
ideal beer color.
Ideal.
Ideal.
Yes. Let's just label it that. Ideal beer color.
What your penny would you say, Dal?
It's
91.
It's not in that range. It's too orange to be a penny.
We had 1998 penny.
Maybe one of those. I don't know. It's not. Not too much of an aroma on this.
Some hoppy aroma, some fresh hops.
You know, it's funny. I taste the peach more than I smell it. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
I really don't smell much of anything, but it tastes very well balanced. It tastes complex, but I get a little bit of a peach flavor. Very, very slight. It kind of reminds me of way back when we did that green tea beer. That it is that very slight green tea taste kind of mixed into it.
That was the same. That was a Stone beer also.
That was Stone, yeah.
A collaboration beer.
Yeah. And it kind of just has that, like, it's just woven into the beer, just very slight, but it's enough to taste, and I like it.
Steve, I don't know what you had for breakfast today, but you are on top of this stuff. I completely agree with you.
He had a Big Mac for breakfast.
And lunch.
St. Louis-based Four Hands Brewing Company, known for its innovative IPAs, and Bale Breaking Brewing Company, whose owner's family has farmed hops in Washington's Yakima Valley for generations. Let's see here. They're known for their beloved Simcoe variety. Using that piney stone fruit-like hop was a must. Pureed peaches up the fruit factor, while the experimental hops HBC 342 and HBC 344 introduced notes of stone fruit, tropical fruit, berries, and citrus to this IPA. Yes, we made another IPA. We concede it's not surprising, but we are who we are, an unapologetic band of hopheads psyched to explore the ever-expanding IPA universe.
So I posted this comment on the website last week or so, and you know, every year we seem to have a movement in the beer world, the craft beer world. It was, 2-3 years ago, it was double, triple, quadruple IPAs, and then last year it was sours. And I say that this year and next year, especially next year, you're going to see tropical flavored hop IPAs, and this is one of them. To see it come from Stone, it means a lot because most of their beers are just super bitter hop, IPAs, and this is a break from that for them.
It's moving more in the fruit spectrum.
Right. I feel like with any style, there's only so much you can do. There's not an infinite number of ways to make an IPA. With the new hops that are being developed, that's a change, and we're gonna see more and more of that.
This is sweeter, man. This is there's peach, but it's like cantaloupe or something.
Mm-hmm.
Something melony.
Yeah. It reminds me in some ways of the Sierra Nevada Harvest. It's not the same, but it's similar.
A little bit. That's a little more herbal. This is a little more fruity.
If Jeff came in on this one and said he had that lychee, guava, passion fruit
Yes, I'd agree with
flavor,
that.
Yeah, I would say that it. They call it the peach IPA, and it does have that very slight peach taste. But peach you don't think of as tropical, but this does taste more tropical, overall.
Yep.
I think that's something that's really cool about Stone. Actually, I mean, obviously, you guys know I'm not a big IPA guy, but I really do think that their variation in their beers is very. It's very elaborate. You can really taste. I've had that green tea one now. I've had the peach one. I've had a couple other Stone beers. Well, the Ruination obviously was like overwhelming.
Right.
But
4 or 5 different stochasticity weird ones.
They all do taste so unique from each other. They're very different beers, even though you say, all they make is IPAs.
Well, and all those beers you're talking about, I mean, other than the Ruination 2.0 is new, but the Ruination's an old beer. All the beers you just described are new beers. Mm-hmm. They've only been brewing them in the last year or two. And every time we have one, I always say this, but it's very unstone. And I would say that here too. And maybe that means now that they're not just that super bitter hop beer that they're going to give to everybody.
It used to be that's all it was. Stone IPA, Stone Arrogant Bastard, Stone Ruination. Stone Pale, and you'd see these beers in the store, and that's all it was. And we got tired of those. And now they've switched things up, and they're always coming out with new stuff, and they have really reinvented themselves at a time where they needed to do that. And there's so many good ones now. I mean, Points Unknown, that was within the last year, was quite good. Many of the Stochasticity I've liked. 24 Karat, we had it on here just a few
Amazing.
weeks ago.
Fantastic.
I had it in Vegas with Jeff at the bar again, and so enjoyable.
Do they have it on tap?
Yes.
Wow. Pretty
Yep.
cool.
What's that place called, Jeff?
Aces and Ales.
Aces and Ales.
I think there's a couple locations in Vegas. It was good. Great.
They're very affiliated with
beer
Stone.
drinkers bar.
They have Stone stuff everywhere. They have tons of Stone beer on tap. And then on Brew Dogs, when the CEO of Stone was on there, he was wearing an Aces and Ales shirt. So there's some affiliation there. But man, they sure had a good selection.
Yeah, and I think with this beer, you guys are all right, but I just think it's so smooth and there's no bitter aftertaste. This is 9.3%. I mean, I could drink 2 of these and feel pretty good. It's a good sweet, not overly sweet, but kind of a sweet, smooth flavor. I think this is a great beer.
I didn't even realize it was 9.3%. I didn't look at the paper, and
Yeah,
we
that's
didn't
sneak
mention
up
it
on you
before.
fast.
Yeah, I
Deceptive.
never would guess
Exactly.
that.
All right, well, it's that time of the show where we're going to recap the beers that we've had and work towards picking our favorite beer of the day. Andy, you want to take us through?
Yeah, so we started off with the Born Yesterday Pale Ale from Lagunitas. Then we had our, I would call, 2 kind of strange brews, the Briney Melon Gose from Anderson Valley and the Salted Caramel Brownie Brown Ale from New Belgium. Then we came back from our commercial with our 3 IPAs, the Shuttle Bunny 8th Anniversary Double White IPA from Kern River Brewing Company, the Bobblehead Red IPA from Coronado Brewing Company, and we finished off with the Stone collaboration, the Sorry Not Sorry IPA.
Awesome. Let's spin the wheel. And we'll see who it lands on here. Who is it, Andy?
It's me, looks like. I'm going to go, this is a tough decision because that Sorry Not Sorry is really a great beer. But I'm going to go with the Bobblehead Red. I really enjoyed that, the complexity of the flavors. A lot of times, like I said, with the red IPAs, you don't get enough of the red. It looks red, it tastes a little red, but it really just tastes like an IPA. This had both of those factors working against each other perfectly. So that's my pick.
It's a great pick.
You guys want me to go?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to take this Sorry Not Sorry, and I'm not sorry about
We're
it.
so sorry,
That was ready for me.
Uncle Albert.
You know, it definitely makes me want to try more Stone beers. I feel like I could use those as a gateway to get into the IPAs. The ones I've tried on the podcast, I'm pretty sure I've liked them all. I can go back and listen to all the shows and think about my ratings of the past ones, but I mean, this is definitely something I can drink. It's very smooth to me. It's not overly hoppy. I enjoy it. I would drink this again anytime.
Good pick. Hard for me to argue.
Are you going to?
I'm not going to argue with what he said, but I'm going to go with a different direction. I'm going to choose the Lagunitas Born Yesterday Pale Ale.
I was afraid of that.
This beer is one that I would buy repeatedly throughout the year. It is so fresh tasting. It's got a great flavor, great hop. Just the hop character of it is really good, and you can't get it fresher than that. And so I think by having this beer fresh, I could drink it, every single night, and I think I'd even gain appreciation for it over time. So I'm going to go with Lagunitas Born Yesterday. And this isn't even as fresh. We've had this, it's been out for a month now. It's starting to get end of life, even though they still have it at every store, cases and cases. It was piled up there today. But yeah, I'm happy I was able to get it again. Jeffrey.
Jeff, settle this thing.
I guess I'm the tiebreaker, which is interesting because it's very difficult for me because I have two really top beers. One is what Dallas picked, and one is what Andy picked.
Ha.
Whoa. See, my other beer was what Steve picked.
It's tough. I mean, I marked down my little ratings as I go, and I gave these the same score. But so it was either Lagunitas, Born Yesterday, or the Coronado. I'm going to pick the Coronado.
Yeah,
I'm going to side with Andy here. I just really liked this red IPA. I think Coronado is one of the most consistent, high-quality breweries out there, and this beer did not let me down. I don't know why it's called Bobblehead IPA, but I like the malty flavor. So many of the IPAs I drink now are so hoppy, and I do like a really fresh hoppy beer, and I love the Lagunitas, but this Coronado Red IPA for the type of beer that it is, it's very highly ranked in my book, and I got to pick that, going with the Coronado Bobblehead Red IPA.
So no one picked the New Belgium salted caramel.
That was
berries?
that was my fourth pick.
All right, we're going to head out here. I think we did good work tonight. Got to try a lot of good beers. It was a tough decision. You can read all of our reviews of these beers on the Beer of the Day website, beeroftheday.com. And if you're on Facebook, be sure to like us at facebook.com/thebeeroftheday. If you're on Twitter, we are at Beer of the Day, and on Instagram at Beer of the Day site. If you have any feedback about this show or any of our other shows, send us an email at feedback@beeroftheday.com or just leave a comment on the website. We'll see you all next week. For Andy Hamilton, Steve Williamson, and Jeff Miller, I'm Dallas Helliker. We'll see you next time right here on the Beer of the Day podcast.